Okay, so there's a couple of files you're going to need. You're going to want to head to Google and type in Reshade. This will bring you to the Reshade website where you can download the latest versions of these files. So you're going to come up to download here at the top, and it'll bring you to this link at the bottom of the page, and just choose Reshade Plus Framework and click on that, and that'll start downloading. Next, we're going to come back up to the top and head to the forum link. And you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a section called Shader Packs, and there's MasterEffect. You want to click on that, and at the very top here you'll see MasterEffect Reborn official thread. If you click into this, it'll bring you to the first thread post where you can get the latest version here down near the bottom of the first post called current 1.1287. That's the version I'm using in this tutorial. So once you have both of those downloaded, you're kind of ready to go with the install step, so I'll cover that next. Okay, so once you've downloaded both of those files, you'll have two archives, so you just want to extract them to your downloads, and you'll be left with these two folders here, MasterEffect and Reshade. So now is a good time to open up the another window and browse to where you want to install Reshade and MasterEffect. So for this example, I'm going to be using Project Cars. So you come down here to Project Cars, and what you want to do now is head back to the Reshade folder. And Project Cars is a 64-bit game, so I'm going to choose the 64-bit DLL for this one. So you just want to paste that in there and right-click on it and choose Rename and type in DXGI. This is a DirectX 11 API, so that will work. And next you want to come back out of there from Downloads and head into your MasterEffect downloaded folder. And in here is MasterEffect Reborn. Just open this and literally copy the three files in there and paste it into the same location that we just pasted the DLL. So now we have everything that we're going to need to install Reshade and MasterEffect, and all we need to do now is come over to the MasterEffect .h file here and double click and open it up with Notepad. And it says here MasterEffect toggle key. This is the key that will turn it on and off. So you want to turn this to 91. That's the scroll lock key. It just makes things easier. I think 20 is space or something, so it's a bit weird, but 91 is scroll lock. So it's a good thing to save that. You can turn on split screen as well, just for early testing, so we know that the effect is working. And also if you come down, say maybe just toggle on one effect, we'll say curves here, so we can see a bit of a difference on the screen, so we know everything's working right. And then we're pretty much ready to go and test it out in the game. Okay, so now that we've downloaded everything and installed everything, we should be ready to launch ourselves a game. So if you come over to Steam, and I'm gonna, or whatever you're using, but for this case it's Project Cars, so I'm launching this through Steam. So now hopefully you'll get these messages on the screen. If you can see in the middle there's some text, and on the top left hand corner you'll see the text. Now it's disappeared, but that will let you know that your effect has been successful. You'll also see down the middle of the screen that there's a kind of a line, and that is one side of the screen. The left side is the effect, the right side is the kind of blank screen. So we'll just choose ourselves a car here and jump into a race, just so I can show you this effect in a bit better detail within the game. As you can see, as I said, on screen we've got that divide. The left side is the applied effect, the right side is the kind of the stock game. So now you can see here we've got a kind of basic effect, just color curves, which is basically a bit of contrast added. We also had our split screen enabled from earlier, so we can come down and we can disable split screen by typing in 0, 1 being on, 0 being off, and now you can see the effect is now full screen. But it's only basic curves, so you really need to start building yourself a bit of a profile. So curves is a really good place to start. You can play around with the different values. If you see I turn it off, that's just the stock game now. There's no effect being applied. If I turn back on curves, hit Control S, boom, you can see it's better. So we can turn on, say, vibrance here, and that'll give us a little bit more saturation. It can work in certain games, others maybe not, but this thing is all about playing around and finding what you like and what suits a certain game. You know, you could even go with the crazy Sin City effect. It doesn't really work for this game, but it'll make just a couple of pixels red and stuff and make certain things pop out. But if you were going for something, you could try it. There's tons of other ones there. You can just enable them yourself as you go. There's even ambient occlusion that you can play around with, and there's tons of different options for that. But a good one here is the under image enhancements. If you just enable sharpening by typing in 1 and hitting S, now Control S, you'll see that it's added a bit of sharpening to the picture, which makes certain details pop out. If we add a little SMAA, you can see now if I toggle off the effect, it's kind of muddy, it's not too sharp. Then just keep an eye on the road, on the tarmac, you see it pops out a little more, it's a little more defined. Obviously now you have to play around with those values yourself. You can also try things like lookup tables, which are different kind of gradient effects. So you can apply that. You see it adds a kind of greener kind of tone to some of the colors. And if you come all the way down here, you can say play with that individual effect itself. So you see here color lookup tables. Now the default mode is I think 2. So if you say put it on 1, you don't really notice too much of a difference because the effect strength is down very low, or the mix strength. So say we turn that up to 0.9 and hit Control S. See, it makes the image brighter, but if we then change the mode to 2, we'll get a totally different effect, way darker, very, very green. So if we then turn it back to 1, you can see we just get the subtle boost in it, and then if we kind of bump it up to a mid-range value like 3, we get a little bit of the effect coming through. So you can play around with all those different things, and different layering of different types of effects can really bring out a nice effect overall. So if we come down to vibrancy, say, we can boost up the saturation and make certain colors kind of pop out, and you can play with the float values underneath that value, but that's just really up to you to experiment and find your kind of perfect balance for the game you want to play. You can also, as I say, tweak the curves, try different modes. There's a couple there that kind of adds a kind of neutral brightness, I guess you could say. If you turn it off, it'll just be, I think, Luma. So we just turned it back on to 2. Yeah, it says there what different values do. That one is for Luma or Chroma. So we can turn back on 2 and hit Control S, and you can play with the different formulas. They're just, I guess, different kind of ways of implementing the curved algorithm. So you can try different ones. I think 3 is a nice kind of balance. And then I suppose you can toggle back on and off split screen to your own desire. It's a good thing to kind of have on sometimes, just to see a kind of as you go kind of comparison between the two. Like you can see there's a lot of green been added to the screen there, and that might look nice on this but maybe not so good on another one. So it's really all about finding what works. I think maybe it's a little too much, so if I turn that off, you can see now looks quite good there. And then I suppose if we have a little race, you can see overall it looks quite nice. This is on max settings now in the game, so it looks pretty good. And that's basically it. It's just all about toggling it on and off, and keep comparing your effect to find a kind of sweet spot where you're kind of happy with it, and you're kind of ready. You learn a few things as you go, and then you're ready to make your own presets and change all your other games and see what it does in every game. So it's really all about tweaking and finding the sweet spot. So I might even make a preset for this game if people want to check it out. I'll put it up on the SweetFX database probably. Okay guys, so before I go, I wanted to kind of show you how to use Reshade and MasterEffect with older games, maybe DirectX 9 games and that sort of thing. So for this example, I'm going to choose Half-Life 2 because it kind of shows the kind of thing I'm on about here. So normally you would place your DLLs in where the game exe is, but in the case of this game you need to come into this bin folder, and you'll see there's a load of DLLs in here for Half-Life 2. And this is actually where we need to put our install. Older games tend to work like this, so you want to copy the reshade32.dll, and we want to paste it in here into our Half-Life bin folder. As I said, a lot of older games used to use the bin folders, and some still do. It's really down to the game. That's just an old file left over from testing. But you want to come in and rename that reshade32 file to D3D9. And that will be a DirectX 9 DLL, so Reshade will be able to hook into the game. successfully. So once you've done that, you want to come back to your downloads and into your MasterEffect Reborn folder, and you just want to copy those 3 files like we did for Project Cars and just paste them in here to where we placed the DLL. And then next you just want to come up to the MasterEffect.h file, and obviously we can come in here and do our basic configurations like I showed you in the Project Cars example. Now you could copy the Project Cars file in here, it would work obviously, but sometimes it's good just to start from scratch, especially when it's a game you're just testing to see can you get it to work. But you should still stay all the stuff. So I'm just going to turn on a couple of things here. We know how these work from earlier. The same rules apply. Certain effects will have problems maybe with older games trying to inject ambient occlusion and stuff like that. I haven't really tested all that too extensively, so it's really all down to you trying it out and seeing how you get on. So once you're done with all that, you can basically launch the game, and hopefully now you'll see once this window comes up, here we are, yeah, you'll see the Reborn, and you can see the split screen effect already applied and the text on the screen. So if we just wait for the menu to load, and if we come in here and hit load game, we can just load in, I think I deleted my old save files, but this is the start, I think, and you can kind of see the effect here applied on the wall and on the ground on the left hand side. I think that watchdog tone map is a bit crazy, but it's just for the purposes of this example. So we'll just turn off split screen and we get a full screen effect, and you can see it looks okay. It's maybe a little bit weird in places because it's using that weird tone mapping from Watchdogs, but it's just, you know, as an example for the tutorial. As you can see, some of the colors get really bright on the wall, but if we turn off the tone map here from Watchdogs, you'll see now it should look more normal. Here we go. It's just kind of maybe a bit too much contrast or whatever, but as I said, it's just for the example, and that's pretty much it for this. As I said, the older games can be a little more finicky to get working. You know, you might need to go to Google and find out what APIs it uses. Is it DirectX 9? Is DirectX 10, 11, 8, whatever? As I said, I haven't really tested it with games going back too far. I think Wolfenstein, I tested it, the old Wolfenstein, I tested it with, and that was I think OpenGL, so you would have to rename it to an OpenGL DLL, obviously. So I'll just close the game now, and that's just for those of you who maybe want to try it with 32-bit games and older.